Hey, welcome back to Cleflin Nights. This is gaming for week 30 May and episode 25 of season 1. So, how's that sound? That's pretty cool. And we go over the gaming that happened mostly with Alex and Frank, the only people that were able to show up this week, and a little bit of gaming of Ray. So cool. With a lot of vacationing and a lot of work by a lot of people couldn't make it. So here we go. Well, we last left our heroes. We go to Cleflin. Alex got to play there, and he's playing two guys. He's playing one, his Alex Prentice, and with his distance powers, and he's also playing Ryu, a Korean character that he created, and he created the power set for, and he's got a bloodstone on him, which brings out the other guys of the blood brothers, if you will, of this world, and but in this case, there's nobody else playing but Alex in this world, so he's it. And so we last left them. They were on a caravan going north out of Cleflin. It's about maybe an hour or two out. They're about 10 miles to the north. Heavily wooded forest. Definitely in this medieval or fantasy world's forest. And covered by greenery on all sides. Forest, trees 30 feet high. They've been there for, centuries or so. And Alex, he was last left unconscious, and because he's not a blood brother, his body stays behind when he doesn't play. And the other characters had tied him up to the back of the middle wagon, and there's 5 wagons, and so he's on the third from the front. And on the back of it, they tied him to a chair, and he's with his little sidekick, if you will, May, this Chinese girl that he had saved from certain doom. Well, anyways, he wakes up. She helps get him untied. And by the time she does that, while she's untying him, Yu is on the top of this wagon with an elf girl, and her name was like Deirdre, sort of sounding name. I had it written down, and she's a tri-mage, and he's talking to her about, oh, you're a tri-mage, and what's it like, and all that stuff, and they suddenly get attacked. Oh no! By some manner, the wagons get pulled over to the side. Even though the horses are pulling them, something causes them to get pulled over to the sides. The top falling to the west, and they're getting attacked by the Green Brotherhood, if you will, and the bad guy, what's it called, Kill Chain. So, anyways, the both of them fall off. Well, fortunately, Alex has flight, so he, flies up, catching May, and he looks for the attackers and goes into combat. He goes into the forest trying to handle things he sees. There are other people being attacked. Alex saves one of the plum mages and starts to become pretty good friends with this guy. As far as fighting this brotherhood, various attackers. One is this Viking guy, or a barbarian sort. He has some sort of magical axe, and as Alex is trying to use his distance powers, he's able to affect it at first, but as the magic seems to get stronger, his power wanes on it, and it almost does damage to him a couple times, and he sends the guy distance wise off a couple. He's just got to keep doing that. As well as these magical raptors that the scale mages can create, and he has to deal with those. But the magic, sometimes his powers work on it, and sometimes they don't, and so it's difficult. So he's, and we're gaming out this full battle, and it takes time as we're gaming each thing, and he's going back and forth between him and you. Creates his shield, and usually each time that we play, his first item that he creates after he comes out of the Bloodstone is the one that stays, and he doesn't have to worry about fading away. And he creates other items, usually generate with his hands, that will last for short periods of time and have certain abilities. And you gets attacked by some like thief with 2 daggers and comes down on him, and the fight is hard on this guy, and he's using the shield to try to block, and in the end he creates a gun and pop shoots the guy. But it's a hard fight, and then the Viking guy attacks him when he comes back up, and you creates a sticky grenade, and the guy just catches it like, oh, you can't hurt me, and boom. 2 characters taken care of by you and Ryu. Why? People want to say Ryu, but the Koreans pronounce it you, so that's what we're going with. And then Alex does. He helps the Plum Mage, and they just keep. They actually a ranger, part of the Green Brotherhood, and they're all wearing green. The green barbarian guy, a green thief guy, and a green ranger guy. The ranger guy is actually up on top of the wagon that's turned over, fighting really hard against the Tri-Mage, Deirdre. I'll just stick with that name right now because I'm remembering it. And she is trying to block the attacks, but this dude almost kills her. But Alex shows up, stops the attack, and he almost gets his butt kicked by this guy, because he's so fast. Deirdre winds up putting her arrows into the ranger guy and killing him. But the raptors come and attack this time, and actually hurting Deirdre, that she passes out, and Alex about catches her as she falls off of the wagon, which is, because it's on its side, it's a good 10 feet up, and he saves her from falling badly, but she's still unconscious in this, and he winds up sending the raptors away again, and it's a harsh, tough battle, and various times Alex and you go into the woodland and fight, but wind up coming back to the wagons. They can also hear the whole time that George Washington is trying to fend off an attack too. So the whole caravan is being attacked by this brotherhood. And the battle went on, but not finished yet. And we go on to Clefland. That all took place in Clefland, day 2, around 1 o'clock. But now we're going about around 4 or 5 o'clock, Clefland time, and we're in Avatalos, because they only had Frank and Alex, and they were, most of their characters were all in Avatalos at the Pine Castle, which is the castle for the Marquis. And there's the Duke. Frank is dealing with the Marquis and with his dragon tattoo, and the fact that it's alive and trying to do things. Well, there's a lot of different conversations, a lot of different characters are going on, and we got the Marquis. Throughout this gets a thoughts, hearing the thoughts of the dragon on his arm, and the dragon is like, where is Wazoo? So it actually takes over the Marquis's body, and the Marquis has this power where she can see through anything and almost any distance, and actually go there if he teleports. But the dragon takes over his body, and it apparently can access his memories and knows that Wazoo is his supreme, and he wants this guy. And a dragon, once he knows that there's a supreme, is going to go after him and might kill anybody in as a result. But fortunately, Snap Judgment is a Duke Christopher. I mean, no, Marquis Christopher Prentice says, Duke Frank Corso, would you turn off my vision? And that's one of Frank's powers. He can turn off senses, and his younger self has, does all of them at the same time. But this older 20-year older version can actually turn off all the senses of a person, or any sense he wants for, so he turns off the vision, and the dragon's like, what? And I can't attack that way. And then when the Marquis calls a knowing over to ask him more questions, like how I'm going to handle this guy and everything, when he says that, he the dragon again takes over the Marquis's body and starts asking questions of the knowing, and the knowing there, whose name is Dana now, would answer whatever question and answer it especially from the Marquis. And at that time, he's like, make the Marquis Christopher says, make the knowing deaf, and so the Duke does that. And to keep their conversation off mind, then Duke Frank communicates with the Marquess, mother of the Marquis, and says, hey, can you contact Wazoo, who's the only supreme that the dragon would know, accessing the Marquis's memories. Says, would the only one that he knows around, and tells the Marquis tells a Wazoo, Marquis' half brother, bastard brother, a Wazoo soul, and says, you gotta leave the city. And he's like, okay, Marquess, whatever you want. And because at this time, when we last left that hero, Wazoo, he was learning from the V mages, learning a lot of their spells, emotion controlling spells and musically related spells. And he wakes up Rachel Thunder, his girlfriend, and they leave from there to the nearest time spot, which was the tabernacle, and teleport from that time spot to the time spot in Mifflin, which is the shoals, the shoal water. And from there, they, venture around Mifflin a little bit. But they're safe from that dragon anyways, because he has no idea where they went, and he's a little pissed. So, back to Avatalos, they're kind of wondering, we need to do something about this guy sooner than later. And maybe they need to take on this, the dragon, because he's made the deal to get this dragon tattoo to help the power of a dragon. They maybe need to handle this tonight instead of waiting till after he gets what do you call it, coronated, and his father's funeral and the coronation of him. Right now, he's acting Marquis, and if you kind of think about it, but since he hasn't been coronated, if anything would have happened to him, would it go to his brothers instead of his son? Well, it's going to go to his brother because he doesn't have a son anyway, or his sister Chloe, who's next in line for the throne of the elves, which would be different. Also, other things that happen in Avatalos there is most of the other the Corsos and the Prentices. I will mention some of them as I look up this little form here. I got a list of them. Chloe Prentice, John Prentice, Floki Prentice, Arya princes, as well as Anders princes, are all there. Oh, also, there's a little bit. There's a lot of planning with the knowing on trying to, because the Duke meets with, and this is kind of before this little tattoo situation, dragon tattoo situation. Um, the Duke and his son Scion Ryan, they they meet with the knowing and Anders, and they get a pretty strong idea of where they need to go, putting together all these maps of and Floki, the brother of the Marquis, and Anders is the uncle of the Marquis. They get them all together, and it's a pretty long story, but short. They get a good idea of where the Shadow Citadel is, and that way, when they because they were still trying to find Mika Reese, whose shadow form was taken by them when she got blown away, if you will, in the battle against Apollo Olympia. So, wow, and it was so they build this battle plan, of which they're going to have to use the Marquis also. So does the Marquis go into this with the dragon first and handle that, and then go take on the dragon, or what? We don't know. It is rumored that there is a shadow dragon. Eclipse is he could be in the Shadow Citadel, or at least in Shadow Spear. Those are two things that they don't know about what's happened with that dragon, but they know that he exists. And so they're really waiting for Lord Owen Reese, who went to pick up Caleb and Jim. Caleb's course. I know, not Caleb. Seth Corso and Jim Lord, and bring them back, because Seth has a sword that can help direct him in the underworld. So that's the world. That's the world. Well, at least what I'm calling it for now, the underworld. So not the Underdark, because that's a trademarked term. So, anyways, it's great dealing with you. Thank you for being here with us for 25 episodes, and we'll continue through the season. I think we'll get a lot of episodes this season. Maybe more than 24. 24 only did 24 episodes this season. I've already beaten that series. So, y'all take care now. Just got back from Ohio. Drove 12 hours to get home and do a video for you guys. God bless.